What if you had to develop a sequel to the biggest game of all time, but you only had 3 months to do it and you were using inferior hardware? This is the story of Street Fighter Alpha.
One of our major protagonists of this story is Hideki Itsuno, a young fresh-faced developer at the time, and as the story goes, he was playing KOF 94 in his Neo Geo when a senior developer by the name of Funamizu saw him playing and offered him the role to become the planner of Street Fighter Classics, as it was known at the time.
But as we mentioned at the beginning, Hideki and all of the team working at Street Fighter Classics had a lot of challenges to overcome. One of the first challenges they had to overcome was the hardware itself.
They had to create a game to get rid of all the CPS-1 boards Capcom had at the time. Needless to say, the CPS-1 boards were far less powerful than its successor, the CPS-2.
So, how do you develop a brand new game in inferior hardware and only in 3 months? Well, they say that limitations breed creativity. For this story in particular, that statement couldn't be farther from the truth. Hideki and his team got around the CPS-1 lack of power and memory by cutting the number of frames present in the character animations and reeling back the number of colors present in the color palette. They had to make moves more flashy than the moves found in Street Fighter 2. All of these factors combined led to a much more experimental type of game. A Street Fighter game that had a much bigger emphasis on the mechanics of the game, or the system mechanics, I should say. But they still had one last challenge to overcome. A challenge that torments fighting games, even till this day. The question is, how do you close the skill gap? It's not hard to imagine that after 5 revisions of Street Fighter 2, each one pretty much building on the gameplay of the last one, the players began to hone their skills more and more, making it harder for new players or less skilled players to compete with the upper echelon. This presented a problem for Capcom, because if less players want to play the game, because they can compete with the veterans, that will pretty much mean that Capcom will make less money. So they had to close the skill gap to bring back those players. This resulted in, yes, a lot of brand new players flocked right back to the brand new Street Fighter game. But it also rubbed the veterans the wrong way. The reason is that many of the veterans felt that the brand new system mechanics like air blocking, alpha counters, and most important of all, chain combos really took away some of the uniqueness of each and every single Street Fighter. They felt that it simplified the game too much.
I know a lot of people really appreciated the nice anime style, the graphics and everything like that, but the gameplay was just so simplified. When Street Fighter Alpha came out, at the time I don't think we realized it, but subconsciously we realized it. It was really Capcom's first attempt to kind of dumb down Street Fighter, right? It's simpler to play because we had the chain combos, alpha counters, air blocking. They really put in a lot of concessions to try and make the game easier for beginners to play.
So, as we can see, Street Fighter Alpha was the first Street Fighter to really shake up the system mechanics. And many people felt that the easy chain combos really made a lot of the characters feel kinda the same.
In the words of Hideki Itsuno himself, the thing is, Capcom, and this is still the case today, has always been a maker of hardcore games. The developers have a strong artisan's disposition. They make games for the experts and for the maniacs. That is, when it comes to making games, they have a lot of pride. However, the development period of Street Fighter Alpha was very short. We were using an inferior hardware, and we had a bunch of new hires on the team. In addition, this was a time of experimentation with the new visual techniques at Capcom. Drawing extremely detailed pixel art is very time consuming. But if we compensated for that by going overboard with the animation, we could still make the tight production deadline.
But even with all of these different challenges they had, at the end of the day, the team managed to pull it off, and they made Street Fighter Alpha. Then they made Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is why Street Fighter Alpha 1 was kinda relegated to just a weird off experiment. And well, then Street Fighter Alpha 2 came out and it pretty much improved on everything Street Fighter Alpha 1 was trying to achieve. I mean, for starters, it was not made for the CPS 1 boards, it was made specifically for the CPS 2 boards. That is why a lot of the competitive history that surrounds Street Fighter Alpha, it's attributed to the years of Street Fighter Alpha 2 or 3, like the infamous Daigo vs Valle match. This is why Street Fighter Alpha 1 was kinda forgotten. Nobody really plays it anymore, at least not seriously. If you take a look at Fightgate, most people are playing either Third Strike, Alpha 2, Alpha 3 even. But Street Fighter Alpha 1, not so much. But that's kind of the story of Street Fighter Alpha 1. And I guess this is it for the first video of this channel, like first actual attempt of making a video. If you like this and are interested in FGC content, make sure to subscribe. I will try to keep this channel a little bit more active for the future. And I will be posting things about Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Darkstalker, so make sure to drop a like or a subscribe if you want to. So yep, I think that's it for me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye. Also, editing Sig here. If you want to know more about this story, make sure to read the full article, the Street Fighter Oral's history. I'll make sure to link it down in the description below. It goes into much more detail in this video and it covers pretty much the whole Street Fighter franchise. So yeah, make sure to give that article a read. I mean, it was the biggest source of information for this video. So yeah, make sure to check it out. And if you like this video, share it with a friend, I guess. Bye.